Okay, welcome to part 3. So now it's time to move, and I'm going to give you my top 3 exercises that you can start to practice now that's going to make a huge difference to your body, and I think you're going to really start to notice some good results from this. So the first exercise is called the calf stretch. So this one is probably the most important exercise that you can do. So the calf stretch releases tension and tightness through the calf, obviously through the back of the lower leg, and it allows your pelvis to start to sit correctly, because if you have too much tension, too much tightness through the calf and through the back of the leg, it pulls your pelvis out of alignment. So in order to be able to work and strengthen your pelvic floor, you've got to have your pelvis in the right position to start with. Okay, so you do actually need a little bit of something to help you with this, a little bit of kit, if you like. So ideally is to get like a little half dome. So it's like a little, call it a half dome or a half roller. Now you can get these off eBay and they're not very expensive, maybe about £4, something like that. You can pick them up from sports stores and places like that. Okay, so really handy to get one of these. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. We can kind of do a DIY version. And I actually used the DIY version for ages because it worked so well that I just kept forgetting to actually get a proper half dome. So DIY version is just to get a towel and roll it up. So you've just got a roll towel, okay? And then one of my ladies that came to see me, she was sick of keep rolling it up, and she just put a couple of hair bubbles over it just so that it holds its shape. So that is literally just a roll towel, okay? So go and get yourself one of those. Go and make that. It doesn't matter if you haven't got a hair bubble, you can just use a roll towel. You could probably put some sellotape around it or tie a bit of string around it, whatever you've got, or just roll it up. And then let's have a look at our first exercise, which is the calf stretch. So we're going to be standing, and you're going to pop your half dome or your towel on the floor. Okay, and then we're going to place one foot. We're going to place the ball of the foot up towards the top of the dome or the towel and have your heel down on the floor. Okay, and then you're going to step this other leg forwards. And notice what that does to your alignment. Okay, so you're looking to see whether it makes you want to lean forwards. And you're trying to stand upright. And you should find that if your calves are a little bit tight, that it does feel like there's a little bit of tension through the calf. I'm going to turn to face forwards just so that you can see me a little bit better. Okay. So we're trying to step this other leg forwards, and then really pay attention to your alignment here. So notice whether you're sagging into one hip. Have you bent your knee to try and get away from the tension there? And try and stand yourself nice and tall. Both legs are straight. And we're standing upright. We're not leaning forwards. Now, there's an awful lot of work that we can do on alignment and posture and how to stand, but we'll look at that another time. So for now, we're just working through the calf stretch exercise. So when you first get into this position, quite often it feels like it's really tight through the back of the calf, and it almost makes you feel like you're going to fall backwards. And if that's the case, step this other leg back a little bit. You just want to find that point at which you can feel a little bit of a stretch, but it's okay. And similarly, if you get to this position and you think, well, I can't really feel anything, then step this leg a little bit further forwards. It's finding that boundary of where you can feel there's something happening, but it's not too much that you can't breathe and you can still talk normally. And when you first get into this position, that's when the stretch is kind of at its most intense. And if you allow yourself to relax and just stay here, just breathing normally, taking some nice deep breaths maybe, it will start to release and it will start to relax. Okay, and then let's switch and do the same on the other side. So, you want to make sure again that your foot is towards the edge of the towel or the half dome, whatever you're using. Heel down on the floor, and then step the other leg forwards. Okay. Again, checking in, are you leaning forwards? Can you stand upright so that your hips are over your heels of this leg that's on the towel? If it's making you feel like you're falling back, take that leg back a little bit. If you're not feeling very much at all, take it forwards. And again, you're watching for any hanging in the hips. Can you stand nice and upright here? And again, just try and take some deep breaths. Maybe notice if you're holding tension anywhere in your body, so check in. Are you clenching your teeth? Can you let your shoulders relax down away from your ears? Arms just hang nicely down by your sides. Making sure you're not making fists. How about your toes? Are you scrunching and clenching your toes, or can you let your feet relax? And just staying here for a few more breaths. Now, there's no time limit on these. It's not like you have to hold each side for 30 seconds, 3 times a day. Do this whenever you can and spend as long as you feel that you want to doing this. So, maybe, I tend to do this on a morning when I'm brushing my teeth. I have a half dome in the bathroom by the sink, so that when I'm brushing my teeth, I can do a calf stretch, and that's really, really good, especially first thing on a morning. Maybe when I'm drying my hair, I might do a little bit of calf stretch then, or when I'm ironing sometimes. I have one in the kitchen, so sometimes when I'm stood preparing tea and I'm chopping veggies and stuff, I'll do a calf stretch there. It's kind of finding little ways that you can incorporate movement into your life, and that's what makes the biggest change. That's what's going to create a difference in your body, not necessarily doing it, an hour a day or whatever. Okay, so again, you can do each side again. Usually the first pass is where you feel the most work, and then it started to release a little bit, and then when you go around to do it the next time, it feels a little bit better and a little bit better. So how much tension you have in your calves will really depend on your lifestyle, how much time you spend sitting down, for example, and how much time you spend in a positive heeled shoe. And we will talk about all of that at another time, because I could go on for hours and hours about that. Okay, so that's your calf stretch, and then as a little kind of bonus exercise, I will give you the double calf stretch, which is kind of exactly how it sounds. I'm going to turn sideways for this one, and you're going to do both at the same time. So now you do have to lean forwards, otherwise you are going to fall over. But it's really important when you lean forwards that you stick your bottom out behind, and you don't just round through your back. Okay, so we're going to have both feet up. Take them as wide as hip width apart, a bit wider if you can. And then from here you're hinging forwards from your hips, trying to keep a flat back, and you can rest your hands on your thighs. Okay, so what I don't want is you rounding, okay, because you're actually not going to get any stretch there. Your pelvis is tucked under, and it's kind of released. It's created slack in the line, if you like. So you want to think about your sit bones pointing to that wall behind you, so that you're getting more of a stretch. And you will feel that stretch wherever is tight. So maybe it's now right up at the top of the back of your thigh on your hamstrings. Maybe it's still down at your calf. Just notice where it is. And I mean, if your body's really tight, you might even feel a bit of a stretch in the upper body as well. And just kind of hanging out here, taking some deep breaths. Good. Double calf stretch. And this exercise is great for the feet, the ankles, the knees, the hips, and the pelvic floor. So you're getting a lot of exercise there just for this one little move. Okay, and if your calves are really, really tight, and that just feels like that is just too much for me at the moment, you can do it without the half dome. Have your feet hip width apart, keeping your legs straight, hinging at the hips, sticking your bottom out, and maybe for now, that's as much stretch as you need, and that's absolutely fine too. So that's our exercise 1 and 1A, if you like, so a little sneaky bonus exercise in there as well. So the second exercise is to try and strengthen the lateral hip muscles a little bit. So there's loads of exercises that you can do for the lateral hip, and I'm going to show you one of my favourites now, which is called the clamp. So you're going to come down onto the floor. Okay, and we're going to lie down on our side, and you want to make sure that your hips are stacked one on top of the other. So if you think about your little hip bones on the front of the pelvis, they should be stacked one on top of the other and both pointing forwards, so that you're not kind of twisted. And then I've got my knees bent and my feet are behind. Now you can be up on your elbow, you can have your arm out long, resting your head down, or you can have your head propped in your hand, and this is most comfortable for me. Okay, so we're going to keep our feet together, and then we're going to open out that top knee and then close it down. And it's not a big movement, so you're not trying to get your knee all the way to the ceiling because your pelvis is rolled back then, okay? So we're keeping those hip bones again pointing forwards, and we're just opening out that top knee as far as you can without your pelvis shifting. And a little visualization that I like here is to imagine that you've got a drink balanced on your hip, like a little pina colada, my fave. So you've got a little pina colada balanced on this hip, and you don't want to open that hip too far, otherwise you're going to spill your drink, okay? So it's small movements, and it's really, really effective, okay? And after a while you start to feel these muscles of the lateral hip really starting to work. You can do as many here as you like. Obviously you don't want to create too much stress, but I would say maybe do about 15. It's kind of a good number to aim for. It doesn't take long, you know. So again, you can do this. You can just fit this in whenever you've got a couple of minutes. You don't have to sit down and do a specific exercise routine, but you can if you want to. Let's do exactly the same on the other side. Again, find a comfortable position for your head. Make sure your hips are stacked one on top of the other. Hip bones are pointing forwards. Feet stay together, and you're opening out that top knee only as far as your pelvis isn't going to roll back. So again, think about that drink balanced on your hip. What is your drink of choice? Mine's always a pina colada. And if it's on the beach in the Caribbean, even better. In fact, I've got a picture of me on a beach in the Caribbean with a pina colada balanced on my hip doing this very exercise. I might dig that out for you because that's just what you need to see. Keep going. Noticing if it's any different one side to the other. So does it feel like this side is getting a little bit more tired more quickly? Do you feel like you can't open as far on this side without that hip wanting to roll back? And if you're not sure, because you can't kind of get the feedback of whether your pelvis is rolling back or not, sometimes it's really useful to get something and balance it behind you. So maybe balance a book against you, and then if you roll back too far, you'll knock that book over. So it shouldn't be moving. And again, you want to do about 15 of those, and I never count, so there or thereabouts. And then afterwards, if it feels like you've worked this area, you've done the right thing, you've worked the right muscles, okay? So that's exercise number 2, and that's the clown. Our third exercise that we're going to do is more of a relaxation, it's more of a release, and it's called legs up the wall, and it's one of my favourite relaxation exercises. So you need a wall, and a little bit of space behind you. So the legs up the wall will release all of the muscles from your heels to your hips, but specifically between your knees and your groin. So it's really, really good for releasing that area. And then you want to just relax in that position. So you need to hold it for about 5 minutes. I sometimes read in this position. Okay, so I'll show you the best way to get into it is to kind of sit alongside the wall and then turn yourself around so that you can bring your legs up the wall. Okay, and then you want to find a neutral position for your pelvis, which means that you're not too close to the wall. If you're really close to the wall, it's going to make your body tip back. Okay, so you want to be able to have your tailbone really firmly anchored into the floor. And then from here, you're going to think about turning your thighs out so that your little toe is closer to the wall than your big toe, and then you're going to start to take those legs a little bit wider. And just find the position that feels right for you, where you can feel maybe a little bit of a stretch on your inner thigh. Keep checking in with your pelvis and making sure that you've not rolled back. And you want to try and keep your tailbone anchored. If you need something under your head, if you feel like you're kind of looking back here a little bit, grab a cushion or a pillow or something and pop it under your head so that you're comfortable, because you want to stay here for a while. I also like to have my arms just out to the sides, palms facing up to the ceiling so that you can open out your chest and shoulders. And again, just try and relax here, taking some deep breaths. So as I said, it's releasing everything from your heels to your hips. If you suffer with circulation problems in your legs, this is a great exercise to do. If you've been sat for a long time, perhaps you've been on a long car journey, fantastic. If you've been on a flight, a long flight, get yourself in this position. So beneficial. I have been known to do this in airports while my husband is waiting for the cases. Because, you know, if you're really in tune with your body and you know what it needs, who cares what anybody else thinks, yeah? So relaxing, taking some deep breaths. Maybe put some nice relaxation music on. Maybe get a book. You could read a book here. Whatever you need to do to just allow yourself to relax. So feel free to stay there for as long as you want to. Again, let's give you another little bonus sneaky one because, you know, I always like to add a little bit more. If this feels too much for you, there is a slightly easier version that you can do. But also, it's not only an easier version, it's just a slight change of your body shape. So it's changing the geometry so that you're working different muscles. So I also like to bring the soles of the feet together and let your knees come out to the side. So you're kind of in like a frog position. This is a really good spot to be in too. You can have your legs higher if you want to, or you can have them lower. Just see what feels good and what feels right for you. And maybe a combination of legs out long and frog legs. Stay as long as you want, but when you are ready to come out, bring your legs together, bend the knees in, and then just roll onto your side and come on up to seated. Okay, so those are my 3 plus a little extra exercises that will really help to start you off on your journey to strengthening not only your pelvic floor but all the muscles that support you, okay, around your core. So number 1 was the calf stretch with the rolled up towel. 1A is the double calf stretch, okay, making sure that you aren't tucking your bottom under and you're keeping a fairly flat back. Exercise number 2 was the clam on both sides, making sure you keep your feet together and your pelvis super still as you open out that top knee. And you're going to do both sides for that one. And then exercise number 3 is legs up the wall, okay. And 3A is the frog legs up the wall, okay. So you've got some really nice exercises there. And even if you just did those and you did them consistently every day, you would notice a huge change, okay. As I said in lesson 2, it isn't always about tensing a muscle. It also has to be able to relax. And that's the bit that we don't stress the importance of enough. You have to be able to allow a muscle to relax. And sometimes it's not even a physical thing, which is why I put you the meditation in lesson 1, because if your mind is constantly going and it's constantly on the go and it can't let go and it can't relax, how do you ever expect your body to be able to do that? So it's really, really important that you are able to relax. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed those little exercises. I'm here if you ever want to ask me any questions, and there's another little video going to be coming your way after this one just to explain what happens next if you want to carry on with your journey and you want to carry on learning with me, and I hope that you do. But thank you for joining me for this mini course anyway. Thank you.